Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Leanne in case you are new, and today I'm doing another What's for Dinner video. I love to share recipes with you on this channel. I also do some hauls, day in the life, as well as DIY decor type stuff. So if you're interested in any of that, I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. But let's get into the first dinner. We're going to be making drumsticks and spaghetti squash for dinner tonight, and I am honestly not a huge drumstick fan. I don't usually love how they come out. My husband enjoys them. He loves the dark meat. So I'm trying a new recipe. It's nothing crazy and unique and over the top, but I'm gonna try to follow the directions as best I can to see if they come out better and more to my liking. So let's get into the recipe. So I already have my drumsticks in a bag. I just patted them dry. I don't rinse my chicken, but I did pat them dry. I am adding in some grapeseed oil. I can't remember what oil the recipe called for. I think avocado oil, which I don't have. But grapeseed is also used at a high temp, and that's what they recommend. So that's what I am doing. About 2 tablespoons. And then we have a teaspoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, parsley, and then a half a teaspoon of salt. Now we're just going to close this up, mix it around, and then place it in our baking dish. So I'm placing these chicken legs in the oven at 425 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes.
So I'm gonna also be making spaghetti squash to go with this, and I'm going to do it up a little bit different than how I normally do. I will include a link to the recipe below. Pardon my voice, I am getting over being sick and having lost my voice. So I'm just cutting my spaghetti squash in half, scooping out the seeds, and I'm rubbing them with olive oil and placing them face down on a pan and putting them in the oven. Because the chicken was at 400 degrees, that's what I did these at also. This did not take very long because these were pretty small. But when they're done, just flip them over, and I'm using a fork to pull them away from the side to just fluff them. And often this is all I do, and we just have it with butter and salt. But I saw this recipe and I thought it sounded good. So I am melting some butter in a pan along with some minced garlic and just cooking that for a minute. And then I'm adding in some onion powder along, that's it for now. And then I'm going to scoop out the spaghetti squash and place that in the pan and coat everything really well. And then I'm just going to season it with some salt and pepper if you like pepper. I don't use pepper when I cook, as well as some parsley. And the recipe called for shaved fresh Parmesan. I had some freshly grated Parmesan, but I did have I grated it myself. I didn't just buy like the powdery stuff. And this was really, really good. I would totally do my spaghetti squash this way again. And we serve them alongside a side salad. And these drumsticks came out amazing. I would definitely do them this way again. I don't know why I don't normally like drumsticks, but whatever I did with this recipe, this was really good and very flavorful. So for the next dinner, we're gonna start out by just seasoning up a very large chicken breast, cooking that in the oven. I'm just seasoning it, with onion powder, garlic powder, and salt. I'm trying to get through this so bad without coughing and clearing my throat, but I'm struggling. And I'm just going to cook this in the oven till it's done. We're going to be making a healthy chicken Alfredo. I will include a link to the video where I made this before to show you all of the steps. This time I am switching things up, like the garlic here is not something that is in the recipe normally, but I'm sauteing some garlic in some melted butter, and then we are going to make a very light sauce. You're going to cook that for a minute. By the way, in the oven I also was cooking some spaghetti squash. So now I'm whisking in some milk. I use almond milk, but you can certainly use regular milk. And once that is heated through, you're going to add in some shredded cheese, and then along with some seasonings, we're going to add in some parsley, basil, and oregano, and just heat that up, melt the cheese, and get a nice creamy sauce, and then we will add the chicken in. Normally, that would be it. For some reason, this was coming out a little bit thinner than it has before, and I've made this several times. So you'll see I do end up adding just a little bit of flour to thicken it up. My husband wanted it a little bit thicker, so that's what I did. And then I totally forgot to make the broccoli that we normally have with this. I'm telling you guys, I have been sick for, I think I'm going on like day 8 or 9 now. I'm fine. Oh, I also added in some feta cheese there. Sorry. Just wanted to mention that. So you can, switch things up if you want. So I just wanted to point out that difference. But anyways, I have had this footage and I've been needing to get this out, but I had no voice. And now I have a voice, but I'm still not like 100%. So anyways, I still wanted to share these meal ideas with you, even if I am not totally making sense as I'm speaking. And whatever, at least you're still gonna get some meal ideas. This dinner really is one of our favorites. We love this. This did come out really good. I would have liked it better if I had made the broccoli, but I forgot all about it till we were literally sitting down to eat. So that is dinner for this night.
So for tonight's dinner, I'm gonna make some baked ziti. We have not done this in a very long time. I can't even tell you when the last time it was that I made this. But we have some cottage cheese that, I don't eat cottage cheese, but my husband does. And it's a little bit thin for his taste. And so I thought I would just make some baked ziti with it. And I'm gonna do a smaller pan because we do have gluten-free noodles and leftovers. They can, like, the more they're cooked and reheated, they can tend to get a little bit on the mushy side. I've got the noodles boiling and I've got some ground beef already cooked. We're gonna get to the other mixture part now. I will include a link in the description box for the recipe that I followed here. I don't know how different it is from other recipes, but I've got 1 egg lightly beaten, some spaghetti sauce, some mozzarella, along with some parsley, oregano, and garlic, and then pepper if you like to use pepper. I did also use feta cheese because we have it and we like it, so that's what I did. Now I'm just adding in my cooked noodles, and then I've got a greased pan here, putting a little bit of sauce down. We'll put the noodle mixture along with some more sauce and some more mozzarella. This is a pretty basic baked ziti recipe, but there are some variations sometimes. I totally forgot to mix in the ground beef because I was following a recipe and the ground beef wasn't in the recipe. So I did want to have some meat in this dinner, so I'm just going to add it on top and kind of mix it through. When I had this dinner, I think this was the beginning of me not feeling well and my brain just was not all there, so it is what it is. We made it work. Not a big deal, but my brain was also not with me, so I never showed you the finished product out of the oven, but it was delicious, and we did have this along with side salads. So guys, I'll include links in the description box if you need more information, since I kind of lacked in that in this week's video. So for our last dinner, we're going to be making orange chicken, and I'm going to start out by putting some toasted sesame oil in a pan, and we're going to cook up some chicken that I've just cut up. I've been seeing orange chicken on a lot of What's for Dinners lately, and I love the flavor of orange chicken, but I really don't like to eat at Chinese restaurants. I just don't really like the texture of the meat and stuff, so I thought it'd be fun to try this at home. I think this recipe I got from Housewife Glam Life. I believe she shared this particular recipe on her video. But while the chicken is cooking, I am making the sauce, and it is 2 cups of orange juice, 1/4 cup of chicken broth, 1/4 cup of coconut aminos, or you could use soy sauce, along with 3 tablespoons of honey, which I was struggling with. You'll see in a second, not having enough, and then some garlic powder and ginger. And the recipe did call for orange zest, which I did not have, so I used some Vitality orange oil, which is safe for cooking with, and the essential oil that comes from oranges actually comes from the rind, so I figured that would be, a pretty fair substitute. So you're just going to whisk that all together, and then once the chicken is done, we'll go to heating up the sauce. Now I'm also getting some brown rice started on the stove, and then we'll also steam up some broccoli later. I'm adding chicken broth with mine just to give it a little bit more flavor. The recipe, to keep it super healthy, would normally be done with rice cauliflower, which we actually really enjoy, but I have not been able to buy any lately. So I just went with good old brown rice, and it of course tasted really good, but just an alternative if you wanted to do something a little bit healthier. And once the chicken is fully cooked, you're going to remove the chicken from the pan, but you're going to leave the oil and whatever juice from the chicken in the pan. We're going to just use that same pan to heat up this sauce.
Now I did struggle a little bit with this, but I don't think I quite followed the directions properly, so let me explain it to you. The recipe says to have this boil for 15 to 20 minutes, stirring about every minute, which I did do the stirring part, but I kept turning the heat down thinking it was, I don't know, too hot, gonna burn or something, and then my sauce didn't thicken up the way it was supposed to, and I thought maybe it was because I didn't have quite enough honey, so I ended up adding in some brown sugar in a little bit, thinking that the sugar in that would help thicken it up. So then I added the chicken because I was like, well, this is as thick as it's gonna get, and then I was like, no, after reading comments, I think I need to try a little bit longer. So I cooked it longer, but I didn't make that decision until after I had added the chicken, which of course then made the chicken get cooked a little bit more. So just do the 15 to 20 minutes, let it boil, stir often, and then add in the chicken, and this recipe is definitely a winning recipe. I decided to add some red pepper flakes there at the end, and this was really good. I skipped adding sesame seeds because I didn't have any, but this dinner was good. I'm going to try it again and just try to do a little bit better job in the cooking of the sauce, but this was really good. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on my future videos. Thanks so much for watching and putting up with my raspy voice.